It doesn't only stop here. In fact, this training session may not stop the frequent emergence of bushfires, but it can make them change the way they view the forest. Ibrahima Balde, Grts News.
Brikama Area Council is also not relenting in its efforts to rid the town of dirt. The ward councillor of the area recently mobilized several youths to thoroughly clean the health center and parts of Nyambai. Amadou Bajan picks up the rest of that story.
Officials of the Brikama Area Council recently embarked on a cleansing exercise at the Brikama Health Center. The cleansing activity was jointly conducted with volunteers, some of whom hailed from youth groups. It was engineered by the Brikama Nyambai Ward Councillor, Pamani, who set light on some reasons for targeting the health facility.
I believe in the notion that a clean environment would give back to a clean nation, and a clean people, a healthy nation. And with a healthy nation, a healthy leadership. And as much as we need a very, very healthy and sound leadership, we need to clean our environment.
As the direct beneficiaries of the exercise, health officers at the Brikama Health Center expressed their appreciation of the gesture. Speaking on behalf of the facility's health workers, one public health officer, Babukar Ture, also spoke on the significance of the cleansing activity.
What we say, we produce biomedical waste. So biomedical waste, it has a lot of complications, it has a lot of problems. When we get contact with biomedical waste, we can have a lot of other conditions. So we feel like it's important for the waste to be collected frequently so that it can be dumped in the server side.
This engagement is not a one-off activity. As Mane reveals, his team frequently embarks on such activities in addition to the monthly national cleansing exercise settled. Young men were seemingly relentless in clearing the premises background of grasses and other garbage. However, ladies who were armed with equipment ranging from simple brooms to wheelbarrows also actively participated in the demanding exercise despite the hot burning sun. Several youth groups, among them Gambia Youth for Sustainable Development, lent a helping hand in the activity. Nyamba Youth Development CAFO, which specializes in environmental sanitation, also participated in the event. Sohna Bajinka is among the group's coordinators. A clean environment is undoubtedly a general requirement for better health, since germs and other infection agents will hardly spread in such conditions. In this regard, cleansing Brikama's major health posts can at least help in mitigating the spread of diseases within or around the premise. Modou Bajan, Grts News.
The Director General of the President's Alternative Treatment Program, Dr. Tamsin Mbow, informs the general public that on the 17th January 2014, there will be the 7th Breakthrough Celebrations at Kanilai from 5 p.m. under the leadership of His Excellency, the President, Chief Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh. All cultural groups, CFOs, alcalos, students, governmental and other institutions, and treated individuals and their respective family members are invited to the mega event, which will be held in grand style. There will be a lot of surprises. Those who may seek further information can reach Dr. Tamsin Mbow on 9914-535. Well, time now to take our first break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia. Welcome back. The Iraqi army has been deployed into the Sunni heartland of Fallujah in an attempt to recapture the city, which was taken by elements of the Al-Qaeda-linked group, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. The deployment comes hot on the heels of a similar assault on the city of Ramadi, which was recaptured from rebel control. As we hear in this CFI report, the violence has added to the climate of suspicion between the Shia-dominated government and its Sunni minority.
The Iraqi army was making a show of force in Ramadi after a week of fighting. The fighting is in Anbar province west of Baghdad. The army was patrolling Saturday in the city, which is partly controlled by Sunni jihadists.
We are now in the area of Tash and fighting against Al-Qaeda forces.
The Sunni rebels are a coalition of anti-government tribal fighters and the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant group, linked to Al-Qaeda. They control several cities in the province, including Fallujah. Against them are the Iraqi regular army forces, also seeking support among tribal fighters.
The army is providing the tribes with weapons and everything they need to do battle with the terrorists. I hope to God that this issue of expelling these armed groups will be resolved soon, perhaps in a day or two.
According to an Iraqi official, the army was preparing a major attack on the city of Fallujah on Sunday after giving civilians enough time to flee. Shiite Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki addressed Sunnis who, without supporting al-Qaeda, are still anti-government.
They have been involved, without knowing it, in supporting al-Qaeda projects and protecting it in several ways, including giving media and political support. Now they are responsible for the consequences that our forces face.
In these Sunni strongholds of Ramadi and Fallujah, people are angry with the Shiite-dominated government, and that anger is growing. More than 160 people have been killed recently in and around the two cities.
African Union mediators have urged the two sides in the South Sudan crisis to get over their differences and reconcile. The call comes as both sides continue another day of negotiations without any success so far. Meanwhile, fighting is continuing on the grounds as government troops and rebels loyal to former Deputy President Riek Machar fight for control of strategic towns in Jonglei and Unity States.
Were there in the same room. On one side, representatives of the South Sudanese President Salva Kiir, and on the other, the rebel camp of Riek Machar, his former vice president. On Saturday, they finally met in Addis Ababa.
We envisage a rapid agreement on the cessation of hostilities and ceasefire arrangements in order to create a conducive atmosphere for addressing outstanding political issues.
The negotiations were supposed to get down to details today, Sunday. However, on the ground, the situation is extremely tense. The IGAD, the regional group organizing the talks, is using all of its weight to try to calm things down after 3 weeks of clashes.
You shouldn't allow this senseless war to continue. You need to stop it. And you need to stop it today.
South Sudan is far from a peaceful solution. Heavy fighting is continuing in a number of regions there.
Over 1 million internally displaced people in the Central African Republic are in urgent need of humanitarian assistance, according to the United Nations. Also in Mali, 1,000 soldiers have completed their military training as part of efforts to rebuild the country's armed forces following its humiliating defeat at the hands of the Tuareg rebels and Al-Qaeda fighters. And over 40,000 people have taken part in a festival in the South African city of Cape Town. We have more on this and other stories in this CFI roundup.
Tens of thousands of displaced people in the Central African Republic. The UN says nearly 1 million people have fled the fighting since Seleka came to power through a coup back in March. Among them are also victims of the latest interreligious clashes. The humanitarian situation is disastrous. Other African countries have started evacuating their nationals. Nearly 400 Nigerians left Bangui on Friday. 500 Malians were to return home on Sunday. In Mali, the army presented its first contingent of enlisted troops. 1,000 young Malians who chose to become professional soldiers after the north was occupied by the Islamists. The ceremony took place in a training center in Kutalia. The European Union took part in the training of these recruits, a total of 2,000 men. He was nicknamed the Black Panther. Portuguese football legend Eusébio da Silva Ferreira died on Saturday of a heart attack in Lisbon. He was 71. The former international player, who was originally from Mozambique, rose to the top of his career with Benfica Lisbon.